face off. We're gonna talk your face off. 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 Talk your face off.
Yo, what's going on? Sorry I'm late. Had some last minute things going on here. Just wanted to, I'm surfing through the comments real quick. Super one-handed, what's up? Kinsler's RC Customs. Owen Rogers in the house. Racing Case 87. Dad's RC Garage. Let's see, these old flapping lips. Bruce Stevens. And let's see, anyone else? BX Rican 182. What's going on, guys? So, lots going on these days. I don't know if you saw my, I'm looking at what my show sheet was, but I feel like I haven't been able to finish anything. It's been kind of a ADD, RC ADD kind of world lately. So I think I'm going to be working on the Basecamp kit. I've had it out. I've had it almost done. Not really, but I've been having it for a minute. Worked on it. Didn't really get to finish it, but I think tonight might be the night. Time to call Matt and see. He's like, yeah, I know, right? I know. I thought about joking with Josh and being like, why you gotta be taking my girlfriend? Come on, man. What's going on? So Tony's doing some family stuff today, which is awesome. Good for him. And so I decided to take the reins, do a short one, start it off right, and yeah, see where we're at. We got a lot going on. So I got some of the things that we're talking about. I need to prep for going out and playing. Harley said he's ready to fight for him. I got to get ready to go play this weekend. So last weekend I got the kids' car ready for racing. We'll talk about that. What else do we got going on? I need to finish something is one of the headlines. Talk about RC, race recap, and if you guys haven't seen, well, two things if you haven't seen on Instagram. One said, sell my SMTs, ? And the other said, or the other was about my 3D printer. My fans weren't running. And Tony's mentioned it before that my 3D printer is a tank. I don't know how many years I've had that. I could probably tell you if I looked it up on Amazon right now. But man, that 3D printer has just chugged along. I think I've probably printed, I don't know how many bodies I've printed on that big body. I don't know how many I've had fail on it. Well, I shouldn't say I had any fail, but thing's bulletproof. I've replaced a couple hot ends over the time. Nothing big. And I don't know if I ever replaced fans, but I noticed the fans weren't running. So I guess now the question is, do I replace it or do I fix it? Right? So that's like the conundrum there, because the Enders are only $200 right now, I saw on Amazon, which is dirt cheap, and they're worth their weight in gold, in my opinion. And, you know, I've probably put $80 into it, maybe a little bit more. And I think it's time. I'd like to get something a little bit bigger, but to be honest, the small print bed of the Ender 3 Pro is like all I need. If I go any bigger than that, I'm probably going to get bored watching it print too big. And plus, I like to print things in sections anyway, just to make sure things don't, you know, fail, or that way I can glue things together easier. And that way it's not a week-long continuous print. I think longest I've gone is probably 2.5, maybe 3 days continuous print on that. And yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking, but I actually had like full faith of the Ender 3 Pro. So it's kind of like it's a set it and forget it machine at the shop. I literally press print and walk away. So Dad's RC said he's just got a Kaiwu from a local guy, and it's a great first machine. Got it for half the price. Nice. Where's Tony? He do a stream with Harley. Yep, I know. He's like, I'm out. No more Pablo. Just kidding. Yeah, Dad's RC says there's most definitely a balance with machine size and print time and quality. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, I just don't think I need to go any bigger. I mean, there's been stuff that I've seen that I was like, it's pretty cool. But then I wonder how I would print it if I would slice it into sections anyway, just because I'm impatient and I want to see progress. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I've got a little bit of time. I have a trip planned later next month, and so that was kind of the idea of getting my printer going, was because I wanted to print another 24 scale body, because where I'm going, how I'm going, I'm not going to be able to take a 10th scale or anything like that. So me and the kid are probably just going to take 24 scales. It'd be cool if I could get 2 monster trucks running for 24 scale, and then we could do that, but we'll see. Yeah, I know the super fast machines. That's pretty crazy. Well, and to be honest, the way I have mine, I mean, it's not comparable, but it's pretty fast. It's hard to equate volume to, what size of print or whatnot, but I've had a couple machines over the years, and the way mine's been programmed, it's pretty efficient, I would say. And, part of that is the programming and telling it how to slice and where to slice, all that kind of stuff. But it prints pretty quick. But yeah, the new ones would be nice to print faster, especially for the smaller stuff. For some reason, it seems like there's like a ramp. Like the smaller stuff doesn't seem to print any faster than the bigger things, really. So once you get going, I don't know why that is, but it seems like they're not really relative. Like I could print a dashboard and it would take like 6 to 8 hours, and then I could print a full body and or like the front clip of a car, and it would take a 10 scale and it would take 14 hours. So it's kind of bizarre. So you have an Ender 5 S1, which is fast, but now the X, yeah. Yeah, I know, right? And that's the thing. It's like, if I get one, I would probably wait till Black Friday if I could, because that's when all those things go on sale. But I would probably get one that's an overshoot of what I need right now, just because I'd rather. I did that at the time when I got the Ender. It was a decent machine. It wasn't as, I don't know if I would quantify it as being cheap, but it was a decent, inexpensive option. And if I was to sell the bodies that I printed, I would have minted off of that. So it would have been good. So yeah, it has to do with acceleration rates. Takes time to speed up. Yep. And then for it to slow down, for sure. For sure. And especially, like a dashboard, depending on how you print things too, or how it's designed. I guess that's something, Harley, I'm sure you can attest to this too. Like if you design it a certain way and put it a certain way on your print bed, like if you're thinking of the manufacturing process as you're designing, it makes life 10 times easier when you go to a machine, if it's a printer or CNC or whatever it is. So that has a little bit to do with, I think, probably the process that I've been running with. But I don't know what the Bamboo looks like, a great printer. I can't justify the coin though. Yeah, I mean, I think also in my work, I haven't done it before. I've done it before, but most of the stuff is digitally represented. But if it was something that was quicker, that had a better finish without me finishing it, I would probably print prototypes for work. But I don't know. We'll see. What's up, Crow Below? Nice to see you. Hey, that trophy truck that you're working on looks sick. It's another build that I'm okay. So let's go on to the next subject of, I need to finish something. Killing me. I'm gonna take a small sip before I get into this one. Oh yeah. So I'll hop on that question real quick, Dad's RC. Thanks for asking. So that was one of the questions on the podcast was, what are some of the other things that we're doing, that hobbies? And I joked that it sounded kind of corny that I don't have any, I don't know that I have time for other hobbies, but my hobbies are kind of my kids, my family. So we do a lot together. And the summer has shaped up. It kind of ramped up really quick because we were super busy at the beginning of summer. And then it got crazy towards the last couple weeks. It got really crazy. We are helping out with the school and stuff like that. But we're just now starting to get into that kind of flow of, okay, let's go and do stuff. So I'm looking at doing a little beach trip. So that's one of the things I got to fix is I got to fix the UDR. And I haven't just looked at it. I bought the part that I'm assuming broke, or the part that will kind of cover everything unless it's a drive shaft. But I haven't looked at it, but I saw a couple of YouTube videos and I am like, you got to be kidding me. So it's the front diff that I got. And I'm not sure if it's the ring and pinion or the full diff, but either way, I'm just going to replace it all. And it looks like a nightmare to tear that thing apart and to go and get it to do it. So that's one thing I got to do, but I got to do that by this weekend so I could have it ready for the sand. We're going to be bringing some monster trucks to do some monster truck racing. Me and the kid will do some beach monster truck racing. And I'll probably bring my UDR, or not my UDR, my Baja Ray, and let him run that. But I have issues with tires and wheels for that. I did notice, I don't know if anyone has experience with them, but I think they're Hyrax Pro lines, but they have a 2.2 low profile Hyrax now. And it's like a 5.2 inch tall tire, which would be absolutely perfect for the way that I built this Baja Ray. I've been running 2.2s, which are normally 5.5 and bigger, and they just look a little bit out of scale. And if I went with a 1.9 wheel that had, 4.75 or something bigger, or, in that range, it's just a little too small. So it's kind of like walking that fine line on what to do. But those Pro lines look just about right. The problem is I don't have a fancy set of wheels to throw at it. I have a set of wheels that'll work, but I really like you probably can't see it, but my Spec RC wheels. I have a set of 2.2s for that. So, but those are on. Oh yeah, maybe I can just bring the Rift and you can run that. We haven't ran that yet, so we only ran it for a quick little video in the background. But so we're kind of getting into that kind of season, which will be fun. And it'll be fun to get out and play a little bit more. I feel a little guilty, to be honest. Feel a little guilty because I haven't been crawling much. And I think I've been kind of in like creative world, they call it analysis paralysis, I guess. And I have these builds that I really want to do, like the SCX6 that I've been working on, I have a Whoopacabra, I have the Basecamp, and I have another one that I want to build, but I just haven't been able to start on really anything except for the SCX6. Oh, and Tony's build. And so Tony's, I decided to go a little bit more detailed now that I have time with it, and it'll probably be the same for the SCX6. That one, I've been talking to Andre at Scale Metal Supplies about that and things like that. That's a monster. That one's turning into I kind of opened Pandora's box on the front end of that. So we'll see. We'll see how that works. I'm going to read through this real quick. Tearing the front off the UDR isn't bad at all. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Up in Bellingham. That's a little ways for me, but not too far. Unfortunately, the trip is going the other direction. So, so I will be fighting that aspect of it. But so I've been having kind of that analysis paralysis when it comes to building stuff or just getting out on the trail. So now that the Utron is out, I can start modifying that a little bit. I don't think they prefer me to modify things when I get them pre-released before their full release. And I understand that because they want to see pictures and stuff of it in the stock form so they can sell more units. But I did it, but I can't reach it right now. But I cut the fenders a little bit so it's flared out just a little bit. And I stuffed on the RC four-wheel drive 4.75 Baja Pro X's with some spec wheels, and they look dope. So it looks really good. So I'm excited to get that one out. I've been dying to take Lazarus out. At the last race, I brought all these toys that I thought I was going to be getting into, but I ended up not doing it. I ended up just playing with being Pitman. But that's what happens. I had a lot of fun. So, but getting back to that, I think low hanging fruit is going to be this Basecamp. I think I might try to finish. Let's see. I'm just looking through it. I got all the hard stuff built. So now I think it's just assembling it, assembling the frame rails. And that stuff normally goes pretty easy. So it's just assembling the frame rails now. I got the shocks built, the tranny built, the axles, the links. And I got to get a new servo. I need 2 servos, which sucks. I need to get a steering servo and I need a micro servo. If you're still in here, Josh, did you use a Reefs or did you use something else for that micro servo? Or if anyone else has built one in here, I'd like to play with doing that that servo as a shifter. Clodbusted said you should do a Clodbuster build. I'm thinking about it actually. So we can bounce around a little bit. So that's getting into should I sell the SMT 10s? We don't have a class for the SMT 10s. And mine are great. I love mine, but I don't have a class to run them in except for here at the house or if I run them just me and the son. So they're kind of collecting dust and we're LMT people now. And so those have been a lot of fun. But I'm thinking about moving those and either doing 2 things, either moving those and getting a better camera for the trip that I'm doing in a month, or putting some into a retro build so I could have another retro car. But I'm torn on that too. So there's not a lot of monster truck stuff after August, September, I think. There's no monster truck stuff till the next season. So don't know if I really want to have a car just sitting around not doing anything. Our monster trucks, the LMTs, we play with them in the backyard and have fun that way. But we wouldn't have a real setup for racing otherwise for the Clodbusters. But I started kind of helping out a little bit at Die Hard RC, kind of cutting back one of the ramps, and we're going to reshape some of the stuff there because I had some video there, but it was kind of unusable because it just wasn't. We were dialing. I mean, it was first kind of take at the track, so it has to be dialed in a little bit. But so yeah, so there's that. Harley says Reese 179 for your dig servo. Sweet. Yeah, that's I think that's what I'm going to do. How I get a sweet spec RC shirt like that? Well, they were a one-time run, and I think it was only the first group of team drivers or something like that got them. And I've been with him since right before he started, I think, or right when he started. So it's been a minute. I'm excited. I think I have some wheels in the hopper. He's making wheels for the SCX6. So that's another thing that's kind of like giving us some breathing room, is that I said, hey, because he was going to try to get them done before Axial Fest 2, and he was having a hard time carving out time. So am I. When you're running your own show and I was explaining this to Tony, it's tough because like my machines at the shop are being occupied by work. And so I can't really stop anything to prototype the parts and make the parts for the parts that I need because they're paying bills right now. And so, it's things like that that are make it so you're kind of anxious to get stuff done. And then of course, like I want to get that project done because then I feel guilty if I work on anything else before I get that project done. But that project, I don't know. I've been an artist for a while now, and I think sometimes it takes a while for you to get to the point where you can have patience with the project or to get it right. And setting deadlines is good, but some projects like this, I think it's better to do them right and to kind of take your time and to, especially something that someone's probably gonna, put a lot of their own blood, sweat, and tears if it goes to an auction or something like that, to get the chance to get it. I want to make sure it's not going to break, and I want to make sure that they can drive it. I don't want to just hand a trophy or a shelf queen to someone. I want to hand something that they can go and beat on it. So there's a little bit of that I have to figure out, but it's just time. So let's hop in real quick to my race weekend. That was a lot of fun. So the race weekend was hot. I know a lot of the places around our northern United States has been very warm, but it was, so we raced off-road turf, and the green turf, there's green turf like on all the rest of the track. On the uh, jumps and some of the like elevated sections, it's black carpet turf. So there was a temperature change, and it was pretty drastic. It was surprising. I was out with a temp gun and I hit it, and green turf was 140 degrees, and the black carpet turf was like 160 degrees, and these cars were getting hot. So we ended up putting two fans, a second fan, I should say, on my son's rig. He was running one fan on his ESC and no fan on the motor. And then we ended up putting another fan on the motor, Reedy fan, pushing a lot of air on it. And he did fine, but there were some guys out there that it was like NASCAR. They were running, and then all of a sudden their car would just die and it would temp out. So it was pretty interesting, but we had a great learning weekend. So the last, I don't know if they're not trophy races, but the last big weekend race, they changed the track layout the night before. So we went into it cold. And I think the track layout needed to be massaged a little bit, but for his car class, they're running 21.5 buggy. The track was challenging for it. One of the jumps was hard to get on top. The other was a triple, and you had to double single it there. I mean, you could maybe make a triple, but it was tough. So we went out and practiced a ton and learned the double single and learned the track and how to fit, what happened when the car faded, that kind of thing. So we got out to the track on Saturday, and I actually gave him one tooth and pinion and turned up his timing a couple degrees. And man, it made the world of difference. He was able to jump up on that roller coaster section, no problem. So the roller coaster section had like a bump, and then it had a dip with the platform, and people were jumping and clipping the back there in this class all over the place. And we got his car so it would just clear it, no problem. And then we got his car so it was clearing the triple and probably going halfway down the backside of the triple, which was awesome. So we talked it over at the beginning, and his strategy was if he's in traffic, he's going to double single and check up. And if it was open, I was like, dude, I give you the green light to send it. And he was airing it out. It was awesome. First, yep, at Die Hard. So at first qual, I think he got top on first qual. Second qual, he was TQ pace for the whole thing until like the last last minute, I think. So last like 3 laps. He was on pace, clipped the pipe, and his turnbuckle popped. And the guy was right there, and he popped it back on, but it lost enough time where he got past. the top two guys were fast. One guy came from Canada, and he was renting a car, but he had experience on dirt, so he was pretty quick. But they were battling the whole time. So my son lost TQ, but he came in second. And then in the main, he led all but, I think, out of 16 laps, he led 11 laps and then lost it right on the last one. And he ended up finishing second, which is still rad. But it was like he came down just huge smile. He knew that he had a good race because he was running really well. So first and second were 2 laps up on the rest of the field, if that says anything. So my son was running really fast, and this guy that had a little bit of experience was running really fast too. And they weren't door to door, but they were on the clock on the same lap racing hard. So that was really cool to see. And it was cool to see him. Even the track director announcer was commenting on how he was taking good lines and making good decisions, like as he was racing, because he was carving through traffic, and then you could see him check up, which was awesome, where the triple was, and he was double singling where that happened. And so he had a little battery fade at the end where I think he had a couple where he had one where he was trying to triple it, but the battery was hot. Everything was hot. 6-minute heat or 6-minute main. So things were getting hot in there. So he wasn't able to make that triple at the end, but that's okay. But it was an awesome race, and he was super happy. I was super happy. He learned so much. Not only that, but shout out to the Dunn family. Mr. Dunn really helped us out on tuning our car. I had no idea. So I am novice as novice can be when it comes to dialing in one of these buggies. And I took it over to him because I was like, we got him some new tires, and he was just, it was like oversteer city. The rear end would slip around on turf. The rear end would slip around. And I was like, what's going on? Help me out. And so he helped me out with the camber adjustment on my car, or on his car, to get him to go. And then he loaned us a set of tires for the back that were brand new. He said, try these. And we did. And man, it was a night and day difference. He just had a great race with that. So big thank you to them. And like I've said it before, but the whole community out there for racing is so cool. It's competitive, but it's a very family oriented thing where everyone helps each other out. So here's a setup that we got running on super compact. We're running the Ovonic 500 or 5100C. I think it's time to get a Zappers LiPo. They're 130C and a little bit big. They're about 4800, but probably more efficient. They're the high voltage. So, but yeah, he's running the Reefs 422 HD. I'd like to get that a better servo for him, and then the S Plus. So he's got the S Plus 21.5 and a Hobby Wing just stock, and he's tearing it up. That's awesome. So it's really fun to see him do that. So let's see what some of these comments are saying. I need to get up there. Can I race at PDX? Oh, cool. Yeah. So there's a father and son, and they were racing, and the son was probably 15 or 16, and they were racing at the last interstate championship. I think that's what it was called. What was it called? Rug Champs up at Die Hard. We took 5th in that, but they were racing in that. But they were in 17.5 and 21.5 and mod, I think. But they were very cool. They helped us out too. They put a slipper limiter on the spur for my son, and that made a big difference. But yeah, it'd be cool to get down there PDX Underground, try that track out. It'd be cool to, that was one of the things I was explaining to my wife of like, how we're practicing and all that, how it's kind of a sport. And then that, we're practicing club level right now, but if it gets good enough, we can start going to other trophy I call them trophy races. I don't know if that's the right term, but like the rug champs kind of thing is like a trophy race. You actually get a trophy and it's a bigger regional event, but it'd be fun to start taking him to things like that and seeing how he does. I think we'll probably keep him in novice for a little longer. He So this is his first season. It won't be a complete season because we were gone or sick or something on some of his races, but it'd be cool to kind of keep him through the winter time because he's going to miss some for soccer, and then maybe switch him out next summer when it comes to getting him in 21.5, or maybe keep him a novice. I mean, he's 9, so he's got some learning to do. The biggest thing right now, I think, he's got to learn etiquette, that he can't run up the back of someone to get by. He's got to, learn to, and I saw it happen. He would, do one of these things trying to get by someone, but yeah, it'd be really cool to see if he learned that, then move him up. But yeah, so let's get back into that monster truck stuff. What do you guys think about this SMT 10 thing? Is it time to let him go? Do I keep him and maybe use them in racing in the future? I think Die Hard wants to do something, but they probably won't have anything developed for till next summer. But we might do something over the winter because there's an undercover area that has dirt. But I don't know. It's hard to say on what to do. But it is tempting to get a different camera and something, tempting to maybe do a quad build. What's up, Kaylin? Solo all day, just me. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, don't tell Tony. I agree they're dying off. I do think that you can still get them for good parts. Our good parts are going to be few and far between. Chinesium parts you could probably still get for a while. For monster trucks, it's not going to be, I'm not really looking to make these super fancy ones, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Oh yeah, that's the other. Well, our short course. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I can run them on the short course, or on our course back here, but then it's just me and the kid running them. I'd rather, if I'm going to be racing stuff, I'd rather actually really race stuff. So the bomber, if you say the bomber, no, SMT 10, not SC 10. So the bomber is basically the same axles and all that as the SMT 10s, same trans, all that kind of thing. So yeah, the problem is I don't know. Yes, Chinesium. He's laughing. I don't know, what the I saw some online or on Marketplace or whatever, and they're going for $300, and I feel like $300 is kind of a lot. Like, I think I'd probably sell mine for $200, maybe, $250. I'd like to get $250 out of them. But I don't know. They're in decent shape. I have munitions. I also have the stock BKT tires that I could throw in with them. I guess what they're good for is they're a good starter RC for monster trucking, the way we have them set up. We have the Holmes Hobbies 8-turn brushed motor in it. And those are great because you can run 2 or 3S, and they run great on that. That 250 of it signed. Yeah, exactly. I'll put some stickers in it. Yep. I know. Yep. That's the problem with people making the parts if they're dying out. So yeah, I mean, I think they're great, and especially if it's going to a kid. I don't want to charge an arm and a leg for them. Ours don't have anything special. I'm trying to think of. I mean, ours might have universals in the front and hardened diff gears, and aluminum C knuckles probably, or C hubs, whatever they're called. And can you guys hear that music in the background? It seems super loud. Let me know if you can hear that. I'll text upstairs and be like, turn it down. Let's see. But yeah, I don't think it really has anything else besides that, besides the munitions. The gearbox, they're kit versions, so the gears are all steel. There's no plastic gears in it. So I think, yeah, I think it'd be a pretty good deal. I'm going to tell him to turn it down. I can hear it over my headphones. Mm-hmm. They're in trouble. My daughter's in trouble. So, what else did I have to talk about? You guys have any questions? Let's pull up my little show sheet here. Oh yeah. Talk about RC. Have you guys heard it yet? Have you guys tried it out? It's a new endeavor. Trying some new things. I like it. It's a lot of fun. It's very easy for me to do. Is this the debut of the podcast? I know. I feel like it's my podcast all over again. Maybe I should just talk about what I talked about on my podcast. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to it to share the show. Shameless plug. It's copied to the clipboard, and here we go. I'm going to say talk about RC. Do you guys listen to RC podcast? I know my room, my shop back here is like, it looks super bare. That's funny right now. Hold on. Talk about RC podcast. And here's the link. Bam. Did I watch any of the work? I didn't watch any of it. Sneak the paints. It's funny. My daughter wants her paint so she can paint the mural. I gotta text her and tell her if she comes down, she'll be on camera. So that's the thing that we've been doing out in our backyard is we took up graffiti. And so we're learning, I put some panels up and we're learning how to actually do real graffiti. Got the real paints and everything out there. It's been pretty rad. Wheel and Trigger, I haven't heard of that one before. You should pop, if you can, pop that thing in the, pop it in the chat, the link to that, and we'll let other people see it. Am I talking that loud? Am I talking that loud? I don't think I'm talking that loud. My mic's turned way down. Maybe it's just your sensitive ears. Anyhow, yeah. What podcasts RC related do you listen to? I miss my homeboy Jeff Lemoyne. We did Syrup and Salsa, and we did, what else did we do? We did well, he had his O Canada RC podcast, the podcast I always joked about. He did a great job, and I just talked to him the other day because I was like, dude, I had no idea what he was talking about. That giant mic. I know. Maybe I should hide behind it like this. I'm just talk like this. So I talked to him and I said, dude, I had no idea about the racing. He used to always talk about it. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Kind of like the Tony thing when he gets glossed over when you know he's looking at something else. And he'd be like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'd talk to him about it. And sounds good. No, but now I actually have some information to talk to him. So I got to get him on the show and talk more about that. Oh, I see her coming down. There she is. Oh, she hit off. You jumped off screen. What? You were on screen for a second. You can't see yourself. There she is.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Have fun. Don't forget. Where's your other respirator? I thought you wanted to wear that. Okay. Have fun.
Thanks. I can unlock the door.
All right. Going out to be a vandal in training. So just
I'll
walk.
go upstairs. This
just-
is
Just walk with your. All right. There's a spider. Just do this with something.
Bye.
Those are okay. All your tips are right there.
And I'm gonna bring
Okay.
the box too.
All right. Have
I
fun.
don't even know what- Actually, yes, I do.
That's funny you said that, super one-handed dang kids, because the paint that we use is called dang paint. So, it's pretty rad. Yep. We got to get some more paint. Think about getting Super Cloud Buster. Is it worth the wait? Ooh. Throw the M14 at the spider. Yeah. They're saying to throw the little RC car at the spider web.
Why?
So okay. Goodbye. Have fun.
Thanks.
So Cloudbuster or LMT. If you don't have an LMT, I'd say get the LMT. It's way more fun. Cloudbusters are great when you can race against each other. They're a fun build for nostalgia, but they're not like, I drove mine 3 times a year. Otherwise, but the LMT, you can drive that any time of the year, and you can drive it however you want. I mean, it's kind of a basher. If you listen to the podcast, actually, we talked about driving style and how the LMT is, if you drive it scale-ish, it's a lot more fun and it's forgiving and doesn't break or all that kind of stuff. So Mirror Diff says the LMT. Mirror Diff. So you'll be one that's happy to know that we've been doing a bunch of fun graffiti. Let's see. We've been learning how to write. See if I have any pictures of her stuff. This one is a work in progress for me. Hold on. This one was a quick little work in progress, which is pretty cool. Hers are really good. She's been drawing a lot more like hand drawing stuff, which looks really cool. But here she is again.
I need black.
You need black. Is that black?
Huh?
Is that black?
Black.
Black. All right. So there's some of that too. But yeah. So yeah, if you want to drive it, get the LMT. The LMT is definitely, like I said, you can drive it anywhere. You can throw that in the back of your car or truck and take it to the park and have a blast with it. It's definitely worth it. But there's something to be said about just building an old truck like that for nostalgia. Like I got mine after waiting 30 something years for it. At least, yeah. And finally got one and loved every second of the build. Didn't like the Phillips head screws and was too lazy and didn't want to spend the money to get the other screws. So, but because they have screw kits for it and all that kind of stuff. But the LMT would be sick. I would actually scratch that. Well, specifically, I would get the Bog Hog or the King Sling. I don't know if there's a price difference or not. I like the longer wheelbase, and the Bog Hog and King Sling have a little bit bigger of a power plant, so you could throw more battery at it if you wanted to. But Max Paul saying the LMT is well worth the money. Oh yeah. You won't be dissatisfied in the least with that. In the least, definitely save up for it. Or try to find it on sale when it's like $100 off. I mean, I would assume there's going to be an end of summer sale. Thanks for the color combos. I want a Bog Hog badly, just can't justify a third LMT base. If you haven't ran them with mud tires on it, you got to try it. It is so cool because we did it with ours. Well, we did it in the mud with the Andersons, but in the snow with those mud tires or in other mud, so much fun. So much fun. Definitely worth it on that for sure. They just seem a little bit more snappy, and I like the way that they're planted more. The suspension seems to flex out a little bit more. Oh yeah, so the Cricut machine. I have an industrial plotter, but that's how I did these. So the stars on the front of his rig, I just cut them on the vinyl cutter so you can kind of see. Let's see if I can get in the light. And I actually didn't even peel them off to paint them. I was like, I just put the vinyl stickers on there and painted over them. I'm like, yep, good enough. It's a race car body. We're probably going to replace it in a few races anyway. So if they peel off, I can just back them in white and call it good. But yeah, learning stuff like that is super awesome for being able to make cool stickers and masks and things like that. It will go across all kinds of stuff. And especially if you're into like graffiti stuff, you can make stencils with it. They actually have stencil vinyl that's like a low tack vinyl that is way easier to apply and pull down. And you could do that on walls and stuff like that. And just for like painting signs, that's how we use it. But yeah, highly recommend the LMTs. Either one of them, going to be awesome. What else is there? The body holds up pretty well. The wings, not so much. Yes, the wings, not so much. However, if you get some of these NAR bars, I'll show you. I designed these, and they work awesome. So go to Tony's site. I think Tony still has them in stock. These go, they have little bombs on them. They bolt where the wheelie bar is, and they go right underneath the wing on the king sling, and they go out just behind the fenders on the bedsides on the bog hog. And they are stainless steel, so you can run them in mud. You can run them however you want to, and they cut through all the material. And oh man, they do really well on the LMTs. So check that out. Our race body is a little thinner. Yes and no. You can get race bodies that are thinner, but they're typical. I don't know what the mill is, but they're generally the same as most bodies. I would say they're thicker than the typical like J-Con scalar body, maybe a little thicker. But you can get the thinner lightweight ones. We're just not at that level yet. We're still at the level of just kind of making it happen. I did think of a paint scheme though, that I was thinking about doing. I was thinking about doing a retro throwback. We just watched the Flaming Hot movie, and I was thinking about doing a Frito Bandito Flamin' Hot body and making it look kind of NASCAR-ish on my stadium truck. I think that would be pretty sick. So very much so working with that, with the vinyl mass to do something like that. And I dug out my airbrush, so I think I'm going to play around with that a little bit too. It's been a long time. It's been fun that we've been painting together, my daughter and I. So it's kind of gotten me in this creative. I draw every day at work, but sketching and kind of trying out new things has been pretty cool to be able to do that. So, but yeah. Any other questions you guys got? I'll probably end up wrapping pretty early, so I have some left to talk about on the podcast. Let me see if I can find my show sheet again, just to make sure I'm not glossing over anything. Nope, I don't think so. Is a Castle Creations 5700 kV motor too much for an Atraxis Rustler XL5? I don't think the XL5 is a brushless ESC. I'm not sure which one is the brushless EXC. I thought the XL5 was just brushed. So if that's the case, yes, it'll be too much for your ESC. If not, I feel like it's a lot of kV for a Rustler. If you're doing sand drags, it's a combo set. Okay. I thought the XL5 was what's the Rustler one, or the stock Traxxas one then? I think 2S probably okay. Seems a little hot for a light little car like that. But I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with that type of rig. I would feel like a lower kV would be beneficial because you would have a little more torque, versus the high kV top speed, or having to put huge batteries in it. I don't know what the battery rating would be on it just for on-road use. Yeah, see, I think that might be a little hot. But if you're doing like speed pulls and stuff like that, I mean, I feel like all this stuff, it's kind of like whatever you want to get out of it, go for it. I can't tell you what's good or bad. Like, I can tell you if it'll work or not. Will you melt the innards of that? I doubt it, but I could imagine there's going to be some parts that'll fail because it's probably a little hotter than what's stock. I thought what came stock is like a high 30,000, somewhere around there. So might be a little hot. And then you also might have to look into gearing, see what the gear, if it says on the box what the gearing is. Yeah, I think he means the stock brushless Rustler, not the brushless. Oh, I see. The Traxxas VSL is 3,500, works well on a Rustler. Yeah, so the 3,500. Yeah, I think a 4,300, you're probably going to be a little bit better off. If it comes stock, if the VXL comes stock with a 3,500, those things rip. And like back in the day, I had a truck where, and I'm not going to say you're going to do this, but I had a truck where this is before kids, my sole idea was to go out and bash it till it broke and then fix it. I had an old T-Max, and that's all I wanted to do. My goal was to send it and break it so I could fix it. I'm just saying, the higher KVs and the higher speed you're going to go, they're going to start having parts wear out and break, and you're going to have to be kind of wrenching on it a lot. I've heard really good things about the VXL setup. I like Hobby Wing for the ESC brushless motors and the ESC. I have Castle ESCs. I have only had a problem with one. And I think it was just probably done wrong on my end. Like, it was geared wrong on the wrong motor. And that's the only one that had a problem with it. But the motors, I haven't had a Castle motor before, but I know the Hobby Wings are good. I've had plenty of Hobby Wings. I like the Holmes Hobbies motors. Before they got rid of the Trailmaster Pro, I used to put that in a lot of stuff because it was a good cost. I think back then it was like $50-$60, and it was a great motor that was censored that you could throw into anything and it would rip and go. For the ESC, you could probably do a Sidewinder 4 if you're not going to do a censored setup, and then you can save a little cash that way too. So that's probably how I would look at it for a basher like that. I'm not sure what ESC you were looking at for that, but that's the ESC that I would probably throw out at, versus that combo for Castle is probably like a Mamba X or something like that, which is a super, I have 2 of those, and that's one of them that blew up, but that's a super beast of a ESC for that. So Yeah, the Mamba X setup's nice. I like the ESC. It's just probably a little overkill for the Rustler. But what's nice about it is once you get it, you can put it into other cars too. And you can run up to, I think it's 8S, 6S on a Mamba X. So depending on the motor setup. Yeah, lots of tuning options. That's the thing I like about it. I've not used their Bluetooth thing. That's the nice thing about the Hobby Wings. If you get the right Hobby Wing, it's got the app on it, where I don't think you need a third thing for getting into it and tuning it. One disadvantage that I didn't like about the Castles is that you have to add that third piece in there to get it to talk to the phone. But the tuning on the computer is nice. It's just, sometimes it's just more nice to actually do it on the fly. The Hobby Wing app is really easy. The data logging to know if you're running hot. Yeah, that's cool. The Hobby Wing one is nice. So if that's something that is like a big kind of like contender of what the software is like, I would say get the Hobby Wing, because the Hobby Wing it's super easy to use. I haven't had any problems with it. It gives, I'm pretty sure it data logs too. I'll look. I'm running an Axe V1 in my Lazarus, and it's pretty rad. I like the matching, where it'll do I forgot what it's called, but it can tell if you're crawling, or it can tell if you're trailing. So if you're trailing and I'm just walking along with my truck and I let off the gas, it'll roll out. But then if you're crawling, it'll sense that you're doing the crawling kind of motions, the slow controlled stuff, and it'll apply the drag brake for you. Whereas the nice thing about the Mamba setup is that you have that third channel where you can drop that button and run it in race mode or crawler mode, which I really like for my U4 cars. So that's what I ran it in. So no worries, Jeff. I'm glad you got the info on that. Yeah. So, I mean, the one I want to try next is the Furatech 10 scale motor. I don't know what they're called, but I like their app. I've used it obviously on the 24 scale. I like their app on that too. That one works really well. Yep. The auto drag brake is super awesome. What's going on, Osborne RC? So yeah, those are just some of the features that I know of. The curves and things. I think you might have. I say this as like analog, meaning just have a little bit more tactile feel about tuning when you tune the Castle systems on a PC versus tuning it on a Hobby Wing or on the Hobby Wing app. But analog meaning like I think you can see it and control it a little bit better. But the interface is really good on the Hobby Wing. Like I'm looking at it right now. It's telling me to update it. I'm going to update later. Won't let me get into it without being charged on. But the Hobby Wing app is great. It's really good. But yeah, the next one I want to try is the Furatech. I actually was thinking about that when I saw Tony's Furatech with the Avatar 2. I feel like I want to get those avatars for this trip coming up, so everything's compact. I'm real torn on just buying a Lexan body. I was redoing the Lazarus, and I did a really cool body for it and wanted to print it. I didn't get it, and my printer's down, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But I think I might do a Lexan body just to get something on it so I can go and crawl. But I've got it's like 145 millimeter wheelbase on my Lazarus truck, so it's pretty long. I was also thinking I need to see if I can come up with two 24 SCX 24s to convert into monster trucks before I head out. That way I can have two monster trucks and two crawlers, and then we can do monster truck racing in the hallways or something like that with my kid on our trip, which would be fun. I saw someone ask about the moto. People in here, oh, I just spit all over my things. People here have that yet in the chat? I don't think Tony's got his yet, but I'm interested to see how people are reacting to them. It's interesting because some of the videos out there, they're good videos, but they're not like, it's kind of like one of those rigs where someone else has to have one, so you can kind of battle and run them next to each other to have fun. In my opinion, I think if my family just had one, they'd be kind of like, oh, that's cool, and it would just sit. But if there's two, I guess we're competitive. If there was two, then we would actually like get out there and run them and race them. Yeah, get a maroon high roller too. Yep, I saw those. I thought I saw those. I haven't, and I still have my. Oh, I guess you can't. You can see it. How am I going to do this? Whoop. Right there. My TRX4M. I can't say that. I might get blacklisted because I said that on Tony's podcast, but I'm just kidding. I still have that. I need to put a servo in it. It's the only thing why I haven't driven it, but it would be cool to, I don't know if I want to get another one of those or sell that one, but I got the Stinger. Is it called a Stinger? Setup in that from Furatech. That thing rips. It's a lot of fun. Still waiting my 199 3S Vendetta to ship. Oh, bummer. I wonder if it has anything to do with the back end of the web page like Tony was talking about. Yeah, my Basecamp kit came really fast. That one came really quick. So what are some crawler motors that you guys are into? So I love my Holmes Hobbies, Polar Pros, Trailmasters Pros for brushless. I have a 6-shooter, I think it is. I don't remember what they're called. 12-shooter? I don't know, but it's the can one. I have one of those too from Holmes Hobbies. I actually really, it's funny because I have a couple builds coming up that I'm like, I might just go with the 1080 and my old faithful Holmes Hobbies Crawlmaster Sport 8-turn. I love that motor. Love that motor. It's $20. So the whole setup for 10th scale. So the whole setup, I think the Hobby Wing ESC is probably $40-50, and then the motor's $20. So all in, you're under $70 to have this setup, and I think it's dynamite. Oh, it's so good. It's such a good setup for a budget. If anyone asked me what budget setup that I would suggest that all day long. It is so good. And it's cheap. So, you can't go wrong with that. Fusion just if crawling, and Axe if trail and crawl. Axe R2 is way better than the first gen. Oh, interesting. The only thing I didn't like about the Axe Gen 2 is I don't like how the Axe is closed loop for the sensor wire. That, because, a lot of the software, a lot of the control is in the software of the ESC. So, if I ran a Holmes Hobbies motor with the Axe ESC, that would be great. But I don't think you can get an adapter for that weird circle plug for it. Oh, it works with stock controllers. I didn't know that. That's cool for the SX24. All my crawlers in 24 scale or R24 scale. That's cool. A Fusion SE. I've got a Fusion right here that I'm putting in Tony's. I'm going to test run it to see how that works. I have the Hobby Wing all in one thing. Oh yeah, how's the Hobby Wing one? I haven't tried that one yet. All my Hobby Wing stuff is ESC motor. Oh, nice. Thanks, Earl Moorhead. Like the ESC is built in 3S. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I generally just run 3S. I don't crawl with 2S at all. Like I'm bringing the MT12 when we go out to the beach, and I'm going to hand that off to my nephew. I think he's like 4 or 5, and I'm just going to be like, here you go, and let him run it, and probably burn a few packs, just get him charged and let him run it. But yeah, I don't run 2S hardly at all, except for racing. We're all 3S, 4S for the 8th scale. I run 4S. I tend to run 3S still on 8th scale for U4 on the Nomads, and then I never run 4S in the LMTs too much. I do have 2 little batteries though, and I got these for running U4. They're little 1800s, but I don't know if how long they would last in a heat. That's the other thing I'm wanting to kind of get back into is the U4 stuff. I really miss it. If I got rid of the SMTs, no, that's why I was talking about that, because we've got that new the Rift. So we used to both run 1/8, or not 1/8. We used to both run 1.9 solid axle. So here's the classes. The classes are 1.9, and the 1.9 would have solid axle or the Element IFS, 2.2 solid, 2.2 IFS, and then there's one, they called it IRS, but it's really full independent and smaller tires. And then they would have unlimited, which was like laser nuts, DB8s, all that kind of stuff. So we ran every class. We both ran 1.9. He ran 2.2. I ran 2.2 IFS. We would switch off on IRS, and we both ran unlimited. So it made for a busy day. But now I'm thinking we're not going to run 1.9. It just wasn't as fun. But he would run 2.2 solid. I'd probably run 2.2 IFS, and then we would both run unlimited with our DB8s. And I think that would be a good day. The reason why I kind of want to get back out there is because he's such a better driver now. I think I've improved a little bit, but he's a night and day different driver. So I think it would be good to get out there and let him rip out there. 3S is something you need to try. 3S is, I just like it for capacity, and for my rigs are heavy. Like the Lazarus is really heavy. That's a thing I need. That's one. Speaking of, like, one of the things I need to finish, I have my Phoenix, whatever it is, the kit, Phoenix kit, portal kit, and it's done. And I made a video on it, but I need to get servos. And Josh, if you didn't hear, I'm sorry. I don't mean to talk trash, but I need to get new shocks. That's mainly the reason why I haven't driven it past that one day, is because those shocks were, you said they were the Gen 1 shocks that had the bad everything. I get, no, just kidding. But like they leaked terribly. And then the rings for the adjustments didn't go on right. So I need to get new shocks for that. And once I put shocks on that, I locked out all the shifting stuff, but I'd like to play with the shifting stuff. I wasn't ready to throw down for, I don't know how many servos are in it total. I don't think I put a winch in there, but I think I was planning on it. So that would have been 4 servos, I think, in it. So I wasn't ready for that, but yeah, I need the metal caps. I need the metal caps and the adjuster rings. I was thinking of just getting a set of associated shocks for element shocks, but I kind of feel like that's blasphemy in Josh's eyes. So it would kind of be like me getting bushings and putting all bushings in the Phoenix for him. But now I was thinking about doing that. I'd like to get them so that I want to see how it's quick review. So it's surprisingly feeling planted. Like if you drive 1-to-1 and then you drive scale, you realize that the weight isn't where it needs to be on scale RC stuff, like, normal kits or RTRs. The weight just isn't like, you can't go up a hill and kind of pop on a hill like you're crawling, like a real crawler, because the weight's not so heavy bias forward and it's not so low down. But the Phoenix kit is very nice. It feels like all that weight's down there in a good way. And it feels like it just feels like it's planted. That's really why I really want to try getting those shocks so I can make it work the way it's supposed to. But yeah, I want to get that one running too. 2S can run with big power when it's set up right. Big thing is the biggest C rating. Yep. 20 weak punch, 120 nitro. Yep. No, I agree with that. Disadvantage is, though, the higher the C rating, the higher the discharge rating. So if you have lower capacity with only 2 cells, your battery dumps really fast. And like with my trucks, they're so heavy, I get brownout if I'm only running 2S. So 3S gives me a little bit longer. I'm excited because I've had this battery for I don't know how long, and they're sending out a new 8,000 100C batteries. So C rating is only half the equation. A 20C 5,000 has the same punch as 100C 1,000, right? And it also drains exactly. I mean, there's a lot of balance that goes in with that. I mean, for the typical trailing stuff, I don't really care about the C rating. I see it really coming into a factor like with turf racing, that kind of thing, where if you're racing right, you're not wide. People are going to shoot me for this one. You're not wide open the entire race. So if you're racing right, it's like, F1, NASCAR, you're not going 100% the entire time, and you save it for the burst. So the high C rating is nice for racing because sometimes you need that little burst to shoot you up over a jump or to get you that triple when you need it. But you're managing it the whole time. Yep. So yeah. And so that's why it'd be interesting to try that. I was going to try this in U4. It's a little small, but I was going to do it in my DB8 Nomad DB8, the associated version. Yep. I don't use, most of my stuff, I don't think I have any batteries here, but most of them that I use are 50C, 30 to 50C for crawling and trailing. And they seem to run well. Anyway, back to this battery. So this battery, 8,000 is huge and it's heavy, but I don't care, because what's really nice about a battery like this is that I can charge it, throw it in the truck, like literally, like say I'm going away for the weekend, throw it in the rig, and have a battery that I do not need to charge the entire weekend that I'm gone, for just light trailing around with the kid, finding fun places to play. And I only need one battery, and that's it. And I could bump it if I need to, if I bring the charger, but yeah, for the most part, I don't even need to bring the charger. So that's pretty cool. And a battery like that is really good in monster truck for my kind of monster truck racing. It's not super competitive, but it's nice because I can just keep the battery in there for all the heats. Right. If you're running small milliamp, yep. If you're running small capacity, the C rating does. That's what I was saying about it before, is that if you're running 2S with 120C, your battery will dump or brown out and you might not finish the course. Yep. Yeah, and then it does matter on it's a balance, because it does matter on your ESC, all that kind of stuff, and what you can, how many amps you're drawing. There's a balance. I try to just stay simple. I'm not. That's why bushings versus bearings don't matter to me a whole lot, Josh, when it comes to just having fun and trailing, because that minimal change isn't really going to get me over the hump. Now, would I agree? Would I like to see ball bearings and everything? Absolutely. Yes. But does it really chafe my hide? Absolutely not. Yeah, 450 mAh with 100C when possible. I know those things are tiny. Those things are tiny. The thing that I thought was funny that I see a lot of those, or I haven't seen a lot, some of them that I've seen, they have these small packs, but then they have small gauge wiring coming out of it. And it's like, kind of defeats the purpose, right? When they have like I've seen an 850 before that has something like a 18 gauge wire coming out of it. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. It's because you're just losing all your inductance going off of that. But that's hyper nerd. And like I said, I don't care about that too much. So. All right. I think we should probably wrap this up. You guys have any last fleeting questions before I split? It's been an hour and 16 minutes. Surprising I could talk that long by myself. Kudos to you, Josh, for being able to do that solo when your lady is not around on lives. They're tough. But, I should be actually, speaking of lives, I don't know if my channel is enabled yet for super chats. I think it might be. Oh, here is my favorite all-time trailing battery. Favorite battery, 2200 50C 3S. It's tiny. I love this battery because they're small. They don't weigh very much. And they're just a dependable battery for me. I haven't had any problems with these. I've heard people having problems with them, but man, I am terrible with my batteries. I never discharge my batteries. I should probably do that for my race batteries. I never discharge my batteries. I charge them and forget about them and don't run them. I have batteries sitting in my ammo box that I charged for the weekend. I didn't run. So they're just sitting there. So I tried discharging my batteries, and there's got to be a better way, but my charger takes forever to discharge, and it's loud. It runs the fan to discharge the battery, and it's just like, I can't do it. Can't do it. So I'd rather just get another battery if it puffs on me, but I've had limited puffage. So I am trying to switch my whole fleet over to this, though. It's a little bit better than the Deans. I know. So I'm a partner with Ovonic, sort of, but they are. I stand behind them because they're cheap, and I haven't had any issues with them. Like, that's my honest opinion. Like, I haven't said it in one of my racing videos. Is like, this is a cheap battery. It's probably not the best, but you know what? It's been dependable. They don't cost an arm and a leg. I mean, they're not, $150 for a race battery or whatever. And that's that. Yeah. You're welcome for showing up. I have LiPo batteries from 2004. Still work perfectly. No maintenance. Yeah, I wish I could run it just to drain the battery, but I don't always have time. That's what this theme of this video is all about. Don't have the time. We'll be down by Ocean Shores. So we'll be down there. I don't know exactly where, but just along for the ride. So it'll be fun. Hopefully I get the UDR. Maybe I should work on that as soon as I get off of this and try to get that running. I don't have paddles for it, but I think it'll be all right. I heard it's cold down there, meaning like I looked at the weather and it was like mid 60s during the day. Yeah, that's crazy. 64, 63, 63, 63, partly sunny. I was hoping for some sun and warmth, but doesn't look like I'm getting it. I mean, right here, it's gorgeous. Oh my gosh, we're at 71 degrees. High today was 80. And tonight we're dipping to 49. Tomorrow we're at 84 and dipping to 52. That's the kind of weather that's awesome. Just run them halfway. Yeah. I'll do the Ferris Bueller. I'll just put it up on stands and put the trim on and let them in reverse. Let it run back the miles. All right, guys. Check out the podcast. Go to Tony's website. I'm going to put it right here. Go to Tony's website. Go buy some junk. Tell him I sent you. Actually, I don't know if he's going to be mad at me for this or not. So if you haven't heard on the website or on the podcast, there is a code. So don't judge by the amount because we're running specials. So this is just the all-time amount. But if you use RC Amigos at checkout, you get 5% off there. But we're going to run specials where that code will, or that amount will fluctuate based on certain times. So y'all need junk. Yep. So you're welcome for hanging out. Thanks for coming out, everyone. We'll see you later. Check out the podcast. Go buy some junk from Tony. Hopefully he's having fun. And we will see you. I'm going to be like landing next, or just like coming in hot for next Tuesday. So I hope I make it. If I don't, Tony will be solo for a little bit, but I know I'll be around soon. So we'll see you next time. Check my YouTube. I have 2 videos from racing and practice that are going to be coming in the next couple days. And the third one from this last weekend coming up. And stay tuned for beach bashing and monster trucks and crawling. I'm finally going to get a chance to. So take it easy, guys. Stay safe. And we'll see you on the other side. Oh, and I'm lining up a super long shot for Tony and the Baby Maker with my massive sniper rifle.